Please.
Hello, Mate.
Yes, we can.
Doing well. And I think that most of the attendees are already here. So we can open this webinar officially.
Perfect. Sorry for the hassle on our side.
Good. So welcome to everyone. I'm very happy that so much interest is generating this webinar that we have for today, because indeed the topic is very, very interesting. And even though the Southeast Europe markets are still an emerging or rather nascent market for renewable energy corporate procurement, today we have with us Rezolv Energy, Valentina and Matej, who will tell us a little bit more about their plans for this part of the world, how it works. And we are open to have your questions in the Q&A session during the presentation and after. We will be here to answer a lot of the questions that you have or ideas that the presentation generates. This webinar is officially a teaser event for a physical event that is happening here in Sofia next week on May 18th and 19th, and Rezolv Energy will be present there in person. So if this webinar sparks interest in you, do come next week at the event to meet them in person and talk to them about corporate procurement of renewable energy. And with that, I will close the introduction and leave you in the capable hands of Valentina and Matej.
Thank you very much,
Mariana.
Good morning. Please, Valentina, you can start first. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So
Grateful to Mariana for the introduction and looking forward to the event next week.
Thank you very much. Sorry. So, Mariana, thank you very much for having us on this webinar. I mean, we are extremely looking forward for next week. Every 2 weeks, we travel to our clients in Germany, Central Europe, and South Eastern Europe. Everybody starts speaking about PPAs, starts speaking about meeting ESG targets this year. And when we talk to our corporate clients, to either industrials or commercial clients, they all are having the same questions, and that is, they have their ESG targets starting in 2025 or 2030, and they would like to know what are the alternatives, how they can meet their targets. And we are very happy that you, Mariana, and the team are organizing the resource in Sofia. We hope that the resource will become a more and more hub event for each country. And at this moment, you in Sofia are the only resource event for the whole Southeastern Europe, and we are very happy that you are organizing it. Especially that you allowed us to be also the sponsor. So we would like to invite everybody present on this webinar, as well as our network of clients, that those of you which can come personally to talk to people, to share the lessons learned, not only to us, because there are many other interested stakeholders. We're very keen to have you in Sofia, either offline or even online, because Mariana, I understand it's possible also to connect online to the resource. Is that correct, please?
Yes, it is. We'll have online streaming for those participants that are not able to join us physically.
Perfect. Thank you. Let me please maybe say a few sentences about us. So we are Rezolv Energy, a developer and independent power producer. We were set up last year by one of the biggest global infrastructure funds in renewable energy from Britain. It's called Actis. This is already the energy fund number 5 with $6 billion. And the fund allocated $1 billion for Europe for our platform. We are investing this money very wisely, and we are buying projects which are ready to be built. And our mission is to build them and to operate them. We decided to focus on project finance for all these projects using the corporate PPAs as the contracted revenue side, and our banks are extremely happy that we are finding good buyers on the industrial side, which would like to go to this journey and build the projects with us. And maybe a summary why we are attending Resource Sofia. One of our sites of our portfolio of 2.5 gigawatts is in Bulgaria. It's almost a 200 megawatt portfolio of solar. And then we are also building 2 gigawatts in Romania, and we are adding soon more in Baltics and hopefully also in Central Europe. So we are very keen to be active in Bulgaria and look forward to all the discussions next week in Sofia with the buyers, with the banks, with other developers, because I think the challenge to bring new gigawatts of renewable capacity is a big one, and we all need to cooperate to make it happen, because we have only a time till 2025 or 2030 to meet the targets which are set by the Bulgarian government. So I think it's good to mention that we don't see how many attendees are there on the webinar, but we hope that you will enjoy the webinar. What we suggest is that we no longer only present our presentation, which we will try to keep as short as 5 or 10 minutes, but we would like to encourage you to bring any questions that you might have, and especially if you have any burning topic for you, any hot topic that you are facing right now in your companies, please don't hesitate and share it with you over chat. And Valentina and myself will try to pick them up, describe the questions and try to answer as much as possible. Also, for those of you which are able to share the lessons learned over the chat, a few sentences, we'll be very happy if this webinar can be a more interactive and not only a one-sided presentation of one of the developers, being us at the moment. So I think we can start. I don't know, Mariana, if everything is set up and ready, so we can actually start with the presentation.
If I may, Matej, we can say that we're quite a large number of attendees today, and I'm happy for the interest in this event. We're about close to 50 people on the call. And from what I can see, we're from really diverse sectors. Rezolv Energy is here to tell more about its experience when discussing with corporates and these industrial consumers from Germany all the way to Greece. And we're actually here because we're also advancing on the learning curve, especially on what it means to close a PPA in this part of Europe, as Mariana mentioned. I see that we have corporates and industrial consumers. We have also a lot of developers and investors. And I really hope that you can also share from your experience, or just post in the chat area your questions, your worries. Why are you reluctant to engage in a PPA, or why are you going forward with this? Is it your headquarters pushing it for it? Is it that you're embracing strong ESG targets? I also see that we have some of the traders, consultancies, law firms. You are a strong ally for both the sides, buyers and consumers of buyers and sellers of power. So we're grateful to have such diverse view on this call, and please be active and spam us with questions in the chat area. We're all here to learn. So thank you very much. If everything is okay for you, Matej, to share, yeah.
Thank you. So let's try if the technology works also now, not only on the test run in the morning. Okay, I hope you can see the screen, hopefully. Or not. Can you see the screen, please?
Yes, we can.
I might have just hit the slide show from beginning so we can see the bigger slide and we can see the presentation just fine. I also see that the question and answer panel works just as fine. Keep coming with the questions to the participants today.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and apologies for the technical thing. We are using a replacement laptop since my laptop doesn't probably like Zoom today. So I hope you can see the first screen. Can you nod to say yes, please? Excellent. So again, we would like to encourage all of you which are participating today to share as many questions or the topics or opinions that you wish. This is a short presentation that will describe what we are doing. So we are bringing almost 4 terawatt-hour of energy already in 2025 and more than 5 terawatts from 2026. What we learned. Okay, working now. So again, just a short overview where we are with the market. So you know better than us that prices started going down slightly. It seems that for the power prices, they still are at the level of 100 euros when it comes to the 5 years and ahead in Germany. Also, the other prices of commodities, they are much above the pre-war situation, but they are going down slightly. Just to make it complete, we are sharing also the overview of PPA prices, which are shared by major PPA brokers, be it Schneider or Altenex or Level 10. You can see that, in comparison to the last year figures, everything is going up, but we have hopes that the prices of solar cells will start go down again. What's the negative thing that it seems for the wind turbines across the globe, the prices will most probably not go down. So there was more than 40% price spike against the last year's February. It doesn't really seem that at least for the upcoming 1 or 2 years, the prices of the wind technology will go down. For solar, we do think so, but for wind, not. A few words about Rezolv Energy. So, some people call us a startup, but we are there in the markets for more than 15 years. So actually, Rezolv Energy is built on the basis of the EnerCap fund. EnerCap fund was based in Czech Republic 15 years ago, and we built many farms in Poland, Czech Republic, Croatia, Romania, totaling almost half a gigawatt. Right now, Rezolv Energy took over the management contracts over these assets. But Rezolv Energy is focused mainly on developing new assets. So we still are managing the old ones, but we are much more focused on building the new ones. What we are probably trying to communicate to every single buyer we talk to, and there are several hundreds of buyers across Europe that we are in direct discussions, is that where we are different are the ESG standards. It's not only that our PPAs will meet the targets of the industrial clients, but it's mostly that our own ESG standards are much above the average in the industry. So, and we are extremely happy that Actis, our fund, defined very strict ESG parameters for, for the EPC contracts, for the technology, for the way we operate, for the way we work, and for the way how we talk to the communities where our assets are being built. So I'm very happy personally that we in Rezolv Energy are trying to meet this ESG targets at 100%. So that if in the case of industrial buyers, if your ESG targets are actually also asking questions about the PPA provider, then we are very sure that we can meet the very high standards. For the project lineup, so from the existing parks, which are still under management, which are the light blue, we are showing also the new ones, 1 gigawatt solar farm in Romania, with the largest European solar farm, and 2 wind parks of altogether 1 gigawatt. Again, these are being built as we speak, although these projects are fully permitted. And in Bulgaria, we are very few days from the official public statement about the transactions when we are acquiring 100% stake over the Bulgarian solar farm, which will be built. For the overall portfolio, so this is something we discuss with our clients about the P50s and P90s. Altogether, we are bringing almost 5 terawatt-hour of electricity. What we decided to do is not to sell our projects one by one, but more to communicate to our buyers that actually we have a portfolio of assets. We still sign PPAs based on each asset, but what we do, we offer to our clients the possibility to choose electricity by percentages, by split from the farm in Romania or farm from Bulgaria to define their own mix of wind and solar, and I will describe it in a short while. Slight facts about our biggest Romanian farms. So for the wind farms, we own it at the moment as a joint venture together with another British developer, Low Carbon. And these are really the biggest Romanian new projects. Again, they are fully permitted and we are starting to build them. Now, V4 will come online in 2025, Dunărea will come online in 2026. What we come up with after 1 year of discussions with clients is that actually it doesn't really make sense to try to negotiate a PPA with Bulgarian counterparty and sign a Bulgarian PPA, and to go to Romania, try to talk to the same group, so it's the same subsidiary of the same industrial group. What we do and what we found is much more probable is that let's talk to the headquarters at the same time as with the Bulgarian subsidiary. That's why we are targeting pan-European Industials, and we find this much more successful. So we understand if there are today among you, among attendees, any industrial buyers from Bulgaria, we understand that your reasoning to look for PPAs is that you have ESG targets. And in all these 300 plus negotiations in the past year, we have seen that if there are any Romanian or Bulgarian or Croatian industrials which want to meet their ESG targets, it's because their headquarters are strongly pushing for that. And that's why we really suggest also to you, which are present today, and please feel free to comment or share your lessons learned, or please write a question. What we suggest is to talk to you directly in Bulgaria, Romania, and to your headquarters at the same time, because mostly your headquarters will also want to sign a partial PPA for their own needs, not only in Germany and Bulgaria, but maybe also in Czech Republic, Poland, or Austria. So our offer is a 12-year PPA. It's a pay-as-produced, and the way where we distinguish from the other IPPs is that actually you can choose your own mix of wind and solar. Every client has got a different pattern of energy consumption, and either you will define the mix of wind and solar, or we can help you provide a complex Excel model, and we will try to lower the residual risks as much as possible. For a contractual part, we are fully flexible, but we prefer EFET contracts, where at the beginning we sign a simplified term sheet, and then in the next 3 months, parties design and sign the full-fledged PPAs based on the term sheets. What's very important is that we are funded by a very big fund, and we enjoy quite a big amount of equity. It means that we are providing the security that our projects are being built. And moreover, we are able to provide substantial credit support, being a bank guarantee. So at the moment when the industrial client signs a PPA with us, the average bank guarantee that we negotiate with the clients, that both parties exchange a bank guarantee, which is as big as a 12 months invoice. So that for the 1 year revenues of the PPA, 1 year cost of the PPA, the parties will be covered against each other. Let's maybe move to one more important fact. Since we are discussing the PPA not only with Bulgarian subsidiaries and Romanian subsidiaries, but also with the headquarters, what we found out is the most complexity in such a PPA is usually the price index. So a German client wants a German index, Bulgarian clients want the Bulgarian index, and what we found out is that the best thing for us to do is to accept these requirements. So what we offer to our industrial buyers is that if you want the Bulgarian PPA, the market power index will be Bulgarian. If your headquarters in Germany wants a German index, then the index will be German. And that means that the risk of the differential between Romania, Bulgaria, and Germany, for instance, will be fully borne by us, by the developer. And by this, we believe that we remove the substantial barrier from our buyers when they want to sign PPAs, which are based on the assets of the wind and solar in Romania or solar in Bulgaria. So again, please feel free to ask any questions or comment via chat. Maybe to outline a few terms from our term sheets, Mariana, as you said, we will share this presentation at the end and you will receive it in your emails. So what we offer is a fixed price over the 12-year period, and there are a few conditions precedents. Of course, if our project would go delayed, we are fully liable for that, and there will be an agreed delay damages to be paid by us. So that from our side, we prepare a product where our clients are choosing the wind and solar projects. Together, we check whether this mix fits their energy consumption. And even what we offer as a added value is that actually we provide to you and your management also an overview of your coverage of your needs. So some clients, they chose that they want to be hedged on 100%. Some of the clients decided to be hedged on 80% of their consumption. And together we are designing the proper split of wind and solar. And this is just an example of such a calculation when the overall left side shows you with the blue color the solar profile, the orange one shows the wind profile, and the gray residual volumes are those which are subject to spot purchase by your local supplier. And the last thing before I will pass floor back to Valentina and Mariana is that we believe that many of our clients, they actually spend a lot of time discussing what are the risks in signing the PPA with us. And we understood that one of the big question marks their management or the board of directors had was that with the signing of PPA for 12 years, it's a risk. It's a commitment for 12 years about a fixed price. But moreover, with a commitment to a PPA, there is an additional element of risk for the buyers being a residual volatility. So because the PPAs, they are signed as space-produced pattern where every hour you will receive as much of electricity as the wind farm produces. With the solar, the same. So that means that if there is too much sun today at noon, you will receive too much electricity because a PPA is effectively a contract when you sign up for a percentage of overall production every hour. But it means that if there is low wind, you will receive less electricity. When there is high wind, you will receive more. And this has got an impact on your overall cost of electricity, and we are very happy to discuss it, bilaterally, either in Sofia or via online calls with us. Please don't hesitate to contact us. And what we found out is a calming report or a calming argument towards the top management of our buyers is this report, which shows you that even with the most extreme scenarios of the price developments of really black swan events like 2020, 2021, and 22, we can show that with, for instance, hedging of 85% of your consumption with the green PPA, you will end up with an increased residual cost of electricity by only 9%. And that's really an extreme case of 1 year out of 10 when the impact on your residual energy will be the highest. So usually our clients are very satisfied with this calculation, and we are very happy to make it customized to your needs. So I think, Mariana, Valentina, I will now pass the floor back to you. Hopefully technology will continue working. So I hope the sound and video was okay. I don't know, Valentina, if there are many questions from the audience, please.
For the moment, just an interest in your presentation, which I confirmed that we're gonna share. Thanks for the presentation, Matej. Rezolv Energy is only one of the investors present in this webinar today. We've drafted the presentation based on the experience that we've gathered so far, talking to corporates and industrial consumers from hundreds, I would say already, from Germany to Greece. We can definitely say that there are opportunities for energy procurement, green energy procurement in the area. And we have also heard some worries in engaging in this type of contracts. So I will pass the floor to you again, Matej, because you've addressed most of these worries in your meetings, in your conferences, in your webinars. Why are not corporates and industrials going forward with this now?
Exactly. So this is the main dilemma we see on every single meeting that we have. Let's say out of these hundreds of clients that we have a very regular contact with, say approximately 10% of clients, they know what they want. They have strict ESG targets. They already had it last year. Some of those had a strict management deadline to sign a PPA last year, starting from 2025. And these were the clients which really just went for it. So we signed contracts, be it from automotives or telecoms. Another, let's say 40% of clients, they have their ESG targets, still ESG 2025, but the clients, they elect a sponsor in their management team. They elect a sponsor in their board of directors so that they have a task, as a procurement people or energy management people, they have a task to explore the solutions for the ESG targets. But of course, they already started doing something. They did not wait for us to come. They already started installing energy efficiency contracts 5 years ago. They started usually an on-site solar project 2, 3, or 4 years ago. So they are already busy. And the question for them is that whether they want to hedge the remaining 90% of electricity consumption now, or whether they will just wait. And for most of the clients, when we started talking to them a year ago, they just didn't have time to talk. So we are usually the first ones to approach them. And surprisingly, when they saw what is the product and what is the benefit of signing a long-term PPA, especially if they have an energy target and if the energy consumption for them fits the requirements, then they decided to go ahead. Usually after 2 or 3 discussions, they went to the board to seek a mandate, and they get it. Sometimes it takes 1 month, sometimes it takes 6 months. And with that mandate, we can continue discussing then the term sheets. The price is already known, the structure is already known, but the term sheets, they can take a long time. So what we have seen many times that some clients took 10 meetings to agree on a term sheet, but with one client, we were with 70 meetings, 70. So that's really a long time to come to an agreement. Not that the parties wouldn't agree, the agreement was there. It's almost a handshake was there. But because a PPA is something completely new, and because it's for 12 years, when our industrial buyers are trying to get it approved by every single department in the company, that's the experience they share with us. There is always someone who doesn't understand, obviously, because the PPA is new. And second one, usually the financing department, they understand the implications on the accounting, for instance. So we spend half a year helping our clients with the methodology, with big advisory firms, to come up with a methodology how to overcome the challenges of hedge accounting. Because what we should be open about it, signing a 12-year PPA will end up with being a financial derivative for most of the buyers. Some of the buyers decided to go for a physical PPA alternative because their CFO believes it solves the problem, and usually doesn't. But that's why we've seen so many requirements from Bulgarian counterparties for a physical PPA. We spent 3 months preparing the design for us, and we actually are able to do that. So this is another parameter that also the other developers and IPPs are seeing, that the clients have a special requirements from their financial departments, where the physical PPA is just one of those. The last obstacle that we have seen from the clients, that once the term sheet is agreed, there is even a handshake by the CEO of the client and our CEO, and then it takes again 6 months to push the signing of the full deal. That's really the experience from all these discussions, and I can estimate it the same as Schneider says, or Level 10, the PPA brokers. And again, I encourage strongly all attendees on this webinar to check the websites of these PPA brokers, Schneider, Level 10, and Altenex. They will also confirm in their reports that an average PPA takes from 3 to 12 months to sign, from the moment that counterparties agreed on a deal, when they sign a simplified term sheets, for instance, or a memorandum of understanding, or a letter of intent. So that's maybe the conclusion from my side, is that PPAs are extremely lengthy process, even in companies which are big, which have enough people in their departments, but the PPA is something very new, and all the departments on the client side, they need their time to analyze everything so that they can immediately sign the deal. So passing floor back to you, Valentina, if you have many questions. If not,
I've actually posted a question for everyone in the chat, because we want to understand what type of PPA structure would you prefer. We've told you about what works for Rezolv Energy and why it works. We prefer a financially settled type of product, but as we team up with strong traders in Europe, we can help you shape the product that you want.
Yes,
Matej, can you place yourself in the shoes of a consumer? let's say, a large industrial one based in several European countries, but be for a second procurement guy in Bucharest or Sofia. How can I address the challenges of closing a PPA, and how can I convince the headquarters, the CFO standing in, I don't know, Paris or some other, or Vienna? How can we help out with the convincing?
Yeah. Thank you. So what we have seen from our clients that the fastest of our clients with signing the PPAs are those when the management realized they need an advisor, be it a local one or a global one. With an advisor, there is a drive. When you have a drive, then the people in the organization, they no longer say no, but they try to find solutions with the advisor. So this is the first, proposal. If you are really serious about the PPA and you are a big company, so you don't mind paying 50,000 euros fee for advisory, then I think this is the way how you make it much faster than just relying on your own people when the PPA is the first time that they've seen PPA and they are signing the PPA. The second, proposal for the local procurement teams in Romania and Bulgaria to get the deal approved is that to actually check with the headquarters, is that what the headquarters is doing about the ESG targets. And most often we have seen that headquarters already signed green PPAs, and they thought that in Romania and Bulgaria, there are no PPAs. So they even didn't tell their colleagues in Sofia that you should look around and, if you find something, if you like it, go for it. So this was a surprising fact for more than 30 clients that the headquarters actually realized that, wow, you're offering a Bulgarian PPA? I said, yes, we do. And we offer German as well. Wow, we didn't know. And we asked them, so are you interested? And they said, yes, we are. We already signed a green PPA a long time ago. And well, do you want us to talk to your Bulgarian team? Yes, we do. So this was a surprising fact that actually the headquarters, sometimes they still think that Eastern and Southeastern Europe is something which is much more different from Germany. It's not any longer. The one good news I can share with all of you is that last year, if you were checking, surveys of PPA markets in Europe, Romania was not among the men, same as some other Balkan countries. This is no longer true. So we are very happy that also us and the other developers, we are contributing also with the knowledge and with sharing the word that, or even in Romania, Bulgaria, their headquarters, there are PPAs. They are the same PPAs that mess in Germany. And how we don't know that? Because our German clients tell us, this is a good PPA even for us. So we signed for both. We were surprising discussion when we started to discuss a Czech PPA with an automotive, and we ended up signing a German and Czech. Another one when we were thinking about Slovak PPA, and we ended up realizing that the Romanian colleagues would like to sign one. So this becomes a community work, something like Facebook. So this is becoming trendy, and sometimes I'm so surprised. Some clients, they even consider PPA as a fashion thing to do. So it's becoming sexy for us. Okay, we are still very serious in what we do. We are building and operating wind and solar farms. If our clients call a PPA sexy, what can be better for us? We would like to support that.
But if I may, talking about the PPA, the sexy thing, why would a consumer go for a financial PPA and not for the regular purchasing of power from an energy supplier? This is a question addressed by someone in the audience.
Thank you very much. So it's a very valid question. We understand that many buyers, they prefer short-term PPAs, short-term deals. They are used to hedge 1, 2, or 3 years ahead with their energy supplier, and with their ESG targets, they were confident that it's okay to sign electricity together with guarantees of origin, the green certificates. It's a completely fine way of becoming green. We understand that in telecoms and automotive, and also in some other segments, now the ESG targets and shareholder pledges towards the net zero initiatives or RE100 or scientific goals, they actually no longer approve using just the existing certificates from existing subsidized funds. And these clients, which they want to please the shareholders, that's why it's mostly pan-European industrials, with the shares being registered on the stock exchanges. those are pledging to help to build new renewable assets. And the way how to do that is are threefold. You can either install an on-site solar on wind farm. Believe me, there are many clients which are installing wind turbines in their sites, usually 1 or 2, not 100. There are many clients already which are doing the energy efficiency, so effectively reducing the carbon footprint, which is great. And the other ones are doing over-the-fence PPA, a direct PPA, when they support a farmer next to them, which will do an agri-photovoltaic thing. This is more common in, in Germany and Western Europe. It's still to come to Romania and Bulgaria. And the other ones are signing PPAs or any kind of partnership when they will commit for an offtake for a long time with a developer, so that the developer can take this contract, go to a bank, get the loan, and build the power plant. So in the end, the off-taker, Industrial, is building the power plant together. This is the principle of long-term green PPAs, and that's why we see this is just another tool, and that's why we decided to discuss not only with Romanian and Bulgarian Industrials, but also to their headquarters, because in the end, those clients which want to sign PPAs are those which need to meet the ESG targets with an additionality criteria. And the additionality means that the PPA is supporting a new build of renewable asset, either wind or solar.
Thank you. Can you briefly summarize the pros and cons of physical versus financial PPA?
Right. So the financial one is the most preferred by the developers. It's more than 95% of PPA signed in Europe are virtual ones. Why is that? Because it carries no additional technical hassle for both the seller and the buyer. Secondly, headquarters can sign one pan-European PPA for all its subsidiaries, just one contract. And third reason, it's cheaper. Coming from the other way around, some clients where the financial departments are still not yet familiar with the hedge accounting, with the financial derivatives, they are of the opinion that they can treat the long-term PPA in a way that is just an executive contract of a power supply, so they don't need to treat it as a financial derivative. In our eyes and in the eyes of advisors that we deal with, this is not true. There is no difference between a physical PPA and virtual PPA. But if a client insists on a physical PPA, it can be done, but it will be more expensive. Why so? Because you need to introduce a streaming partner, a third company, which will be a local energy supplier, which will take your electricity from the wind and solar farm, mix it into the final profile, towards the client, and invoice the final bill. This is a service. So in the end, they will be collecting management fees. It can be from 1 to 3%. We have even seen figures like 5% management fees. So this is for us a motivation for the buyers to choose a virtual one because they can really save money, which we otherwise would need to charge if they would opt for a physical PPA. To conclude, what we've seen as a trend, if the clients are not sure about the hedge accounting treatment, they opt for a virtual PPA signing with the right for them to switch to a physical PPA, always with a 1-year notice for the frontier notice. So, for instance, by July this year, they can choose to switch the PPA for 2024 to a physical one. And then both buyer and us and the local supplier of energy will agree on a trilateral nomination agreement for a management fee. The local supplier will mix the renewable electricity into the final supply. It's more complicated, but it can be done. We have seen a trend, sorry to make it longer, that now local energy suppliers, they are very keen to onboard our electricity because they want to be the final supplier, and they're actually aggregating solar and wind profiles, and they are selling this electricity as 100% green to their clients. We see that in Romania. We hope to see that also in Bulgaria very soon. So actually, this is a new market segment when the local utilities are trying to do that. At the moment, it's still not for the long term. We see the demand for 3 and 5 years for this completely 100% green PPAs based on the wind and solar. Passing forward back to you, Valentina.
Can we do an exercise? Pick one of the trading platforms, Bulgarian, Romanian, a day-ahead market pricing, and compare it to what Rezolv Energy is offering in terms of a price.
The price, yeah. I mean, we understand all of the developers and people which are building green assets that It's a long-term commitment that you want your buyers to sign. Therefore, you need to offer something. So there are two things to offer. First, for long-term commitment, you offer the green certificates for free for a whole 12 years. So regardless of the fact that the certificates are now at the price of 8 to 9 euros in Central Europe, and they are now exceeding 10 euros in Germany, we expect that it will be the same in Central and Southeastern Europe too very soon. The buyers are getting this for free. And then on top, usually the price of a PPA for 12 years is lower than the wholesale electricity price by approximately 10%. So this also helps to our buyers to convince their top management to push the PPA, because it's really cheaper than the current wholesale prices, and the certificates are provided for free on top. So if they will, value their own internal valuation, the PPA price is suddenly not as high as it seems to be on the paper, but make sure it's a very much valid competition to the alternative offer. Of course, there are buyers, then there are clients which still believe that the price of electricity will go down to 60 euros or even 50. Yes, we would all love that. At the moment, it doesn't seem so. So for all the clients which have got ESG targets, also the analytical houses and the banks are saying that for next 3 years, the long-term prices seem not to go down for outlook for next 10 years. So these are the two benefits. It's a discount against the wholesale market, plus the certificates are for free.
More on the financial PPA. Can you briefly summarize the legal structure of financial PPA, the term sheet, the length of negotiation? You briefly mentioned that it can take from 1 month to 6 months, but can you give some insights in terms of also invoicing structure of financial PPA, please?
I'll try to share the screen once again. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see the slide, please?
Yes, we can.
So hopefully you see also the right side with the terms. So once the client signs a virtual PPA for 12 years with a predefined estimated yearly volume and the structure of, let's say, wind, let's imagine this is a wind PPA for 12 years for approximately 100 gigawatt hours per year. This volume in the end corresponds to a percentage of the total output. So if the power plant has got a total output of 1 million megawatt hours, 1 terawatt hour, this contract, this PPA, is then a contract for 10% of the production. So that's the binding part of the PPA. The seller agrees to provide 10% of electricity each hour, and the buyer agrees to offtake 10% of the electricity. The delivery point or the pricing point is the pricing of the buyer. So let's imagine a Bulgarian client and his headquarters in Germany wants to sign a virtual PPA of 100,000 megawatt hours, and they will decide to split it into two. So 50 gigawatt hours are signed by the headquarters in Germany, 50 gigawatt hours are signed by the Bulgarian subsidiary. So in the end, there are two PPAs, wind ones. The German PPA will have a German settlement index, the one which is common for German client, and the Bulgarian PPA will have a Bulgarian index. So again, this is the very same one that the client is paying to their local energy supplier. The electricity contract price will be set as a fixed one. The prices, the buyers and the sellers will agree whether they prefer a lower fixed price with an indexation every year. We offer 1.5%, which is really very small compared to usual rates, or the client prefers no indexation but a higher electricity contract price. For the guarantees of origin, again, these are provided for free. And for those, of course, the buyer receives a monthly report. At the end, there is a yearly audited report for the guarantees of origin, so that we aim to meet the highest standards of proving that the electricity provided with the VPPA is fully based on the green certificates based on a new wind farm. And a great support document, in the other words, a bank guarantee of the buyer and the seller. So the offer is that these are a mirror-based values. So the, say, 12 months bank guarantee for the buyer and the same for the seller. Just to calculate roughly, if this PPA is for 103 gigawatt hours and the price is approximately 100 euros, that this makes 10 million euros per year. So such a bank guarantee would be provided by 10 million euro by the seller and the same by the buyer. For the conditions precedent, the PPA starts when the buyer provides the security, the bank guarantee. For the delay damages, this is becoming extremely important because the last surveys in the last 2 years in Europe reveals that more than 50% of projects are delayed by more than 1 year. So when the buyers are signing a PPA, aiming at 2025, be it January, July, or December, there is more than 50% chance that they will not receive the electricity for another year before it starts. So advanced buyers know this, and they more and more push for a very big delay damages. So from the first day when the power plant doesn't start, from the guaranteed COD, from the guaranteed start, there are delay damages to be paid, which are simply based on mark-to-market evaluation. So any missing electricity from the power plant incurs losses to industrial buyers, and these losses are then reimbursed by the developer. This is the current structure. Again, this doesn't really work well for the smaller developers with small equity, and therefore we are trying to design our products in a way that they meet the higher standards also of risk management for the buyers. Then for the structure, how it works, from the start. So once this VPPA is signed, and let's imagine the wind farm starts on the 1st of January 25, then after the end of month, so on the 1st of February 25, we issue an invoice, or actually 2 invoices. In the first invoice, we sell the amount of electricity for January with the hourly granularity based on actual production. And if you remember, it was VPPA for 10% of production. So the invoice will claim figures for every hour of January, multiplied with the PPA price, let's imagine 100 euros. This will be the invoice number 1 that buyer agrees to pay to the seller. Invoice number 2 is the opposite fold. The seller buys the very same hourly volumes for January, the very same megawatt hours, and the buyer buys it at the market price. Which one? The settlement market price. So in this case, a Bulgarian hourly price on each hour during January in Bulgaria. But this effectively, seller exchanges with the industrial buyer the cost it paid for the spot price with the cost based on the agreed PPA price. On the first side, it sounds too complicated, but if you realize that the industrial buyer continues to buy his electricity, his physical electricity from his local energy supplier, let's imagine for 200 gigawatt hours per year, and the client is paying a spot price every hour to this local energy supplier, then this VPPA is a perfect hedge, almost perfect hedge, because for January, the client is paying a high energy bill to his supplier based on the Bulgarian spot prices in January 25 for an equivalent of 200 gigawatt hours. At the same time, he gets back the money from us based on the very same price. So actually, we are hedging the buyer for the volatility of the market. There is a residual risk, of course, and the risk is that the volume is different because our wind farms and solar farms, they are sensitive to weather. So there are some monthly volatilities, quarterly volatilities, and yearly volatilities. On the yearly ones, the usual volatility is around 5%. And with this effective hedge, the buyer receives, 3 invoices. One from the local energy supplier, based on the spot prices. The second one from us for the fixed price. And the third one from us when we just reimburse him for the money he paid to the local energy supplier. I hope it was clear. If not, please ask any questions.
It was. We're also answering questions. We have time for 4 questions, so please shoot right now. The first one, can you go please back to the slide where you presented the mix of wind and solar? that the clients usually prefer, or how can we shape the product we deliver to deliver both technologies source power?
Yes, a moment. Can you see, please?
Yes.
Excellent. So
You
I
have
guess,
2 minutes per question, Matej. So
and you mean this slide, right?
yes.
And the question was, how is the mix?
Whether we deliver power from both the technologies.
Exactly. So based on our 2.5 gigawatts, half of them wind, half of them solar, we offer to clients both technologies. So the client doesn't need to ask for any other offer. We provide a full package. So the usual ratios are 70-30, so meaning 70% wind, 30% solar. Some clients go for 80-20. It really depends on what is the peak load, what is the peak demand during your working hours over the moon. So we are very happy to explain this on bilateral sessions with the clients. I guess this would take 5 minutes for me to explain. So please don't hesitate to call us for a more detailed discussion.
So we do offer this, and I think this is why we're best suited on the market, because we have both technologies and we can offer in terms of pricing almost a base load product, let's say. Another question, what's the minimum annual energy volume that we contract?
Yeah, so we defined 3 segments. The biggest buyers we talk to, we are discussing for volumes from 300 gigawatt hours to 1 terawatt hour. The second segment is around 1 to 200 gigawatt hours, and the third segment are the small ones. Right now, we have the minimum threshold of 30 to 50 gigawatt hours. If there are clients which request smaller volumes, then we have dedicated energy traders in each country, which will aggregate the small volumes, and they will act, as an aggregator towards us. So if your request of the industrial buyer is lower than 30 gigawatt hours, please contact us, and we will connect you with a dedicated utility in your country.
Thank you. Let's do an exercise again. Let's imagine the horror scenario where the electricity prices are skyrocketing again. What happens if a consumer is in a PPA contract with us? Consequences for both parties, any means of adjustment?
I understand. So typically clients ask us, okay, this PPA price is this high. What happens if the prices go to 50 euros again? Can we renegotiate? This is a typical question in Romania, for instance. The answer is unfortunately not. Our banks would not give us loans if our PPAs would be interruptible. Therefore, they have substantial penalties inside if either of the party decides to walk away. So in the end, the lawyer described this contract as not possible to walk away without paying the termination amount being the full replacement value. So what happens if there is a year of very high prices? The clients continue with their electricity supply contract with their local supplier. They continue paying a very high price, let's say 300 euros. We continue reimbursing them every month for those high prices with our green PPA. So let's imagine if the price in January 25 will be again 400 and our PPA price is 100, then we will effectively give the money back to the client, to all the money he paid to his energy supplier in January 25. On the other side, if there is another extreme, if the prices will collapse or will go down to 50, that's another, say, extreme. That means that it is then us who will receive the money from the buyer. So the buyer will have his physical electricity contract with the local supplier. He will pay 50 euros for January 25. At the same time, he's supposed to pay 100 to us. So then he's paying twice. First, the 50 euros to the local energy supplier. Second, the 100 euros to us. And thirdly, he receives back the same price he paid to the local energy supplier. I hope I didn't confuse you.
I don't see any more questions on this topic, so probably that was clear enough. which PPA is preferred in Romania, corporate or utility? What are the main differences?
Thank you. So for utilities and traders, these are much more simple contracts. So, 3-4 pages, very firm volumes, almost no flexibility on let's say on the building delays. For the industrials, these are different. These are long-term ones. There are a few months grace period inside, totally in line with the market standards for Europe. So this is the main difference we see. For utilities, you are actually signing up almost firm contract with very high penalties if you are delayed even by 1 day. With industrials, this is a long-term partnership when the partners are together building a power plant. So they define a grace period of a few months. So if the project is delayed only by a few months, there are no delay and damages at all. If the actual start is later than the guaranteed COD and the guaranteed start, then the buyer receives full remuneration of the input cost.
Thank you. We've addressed the questions raised from the audience. Thank you very much for doing this an interactive session. A last question from me. European Commission is pushing for countries such as Romania, Bulgaria to create more active PPA markets. On the other hand, there are the Nordics, even Germany, who are more advanced in this, Spain. Can you tell us what are the Germans, for example, doing right and what can we learn?
And you mean the industries or the governments? Can you narrow down the question, please? I will not bore the audience.
Yeah, actually, for a consumer, how can we have the same confidence in engaging in a long-term PPA? All
right, so what we believe is that with German industrials, there is one key difference. The average industrial there, its energy costs are lower than 5 or even 1% of total cost of operation of total OPEX. In Central Europe and Southeastern Europe, still many of our industries are very much energy intensive when the energy costs are, 20-30%, sometimes even 50%. So what we see as the big difference is that actually for a German industrial, they actually don't mind, even without a PPA, they don't mind paying 300 euros per megawatt hour. We are so surprised. We are asking all of these 200 plus German industrials, are you not worried that you are paying 400 last year? I said, no, I mean, just 1% of our OPEX. We are a big company. So, okay, it's a struggle. We will need to increase the budget for next year, but otherwise, no. So we asked them, why do you want to sign a PPA? And the answer was, because we want to meet the ESG targets and make our shareholders and our clients happy. And that's the main trigger. German industrials want to please their shareholders and fill the criteria of their clients. And this is becoming especially important in automotive sector when the big car automakers and the tier 1 suppliers, they're actually making it obligatory for their supply chain to sign green PPAs with the parameter of additionality. And this is the biggest driver for signing PPAs and for building renewables ever in Western Europe. And we really hope that with the hundreds of factories in Romania and Bulgaria in automotive sector, they will follow the lead and they will talk to their tier 1 clients, because they will understand that if you are an automotive factory of parts factory in Romania and Bulgaria, and your electricity prices are going up next year, you can go to BMW or Mercedes, ask for to approve the price for your product, but maybe they will tell you no, unless you will prove that you actually hedged your power price for the next 12 years. This is what we are hearing from the biggest car makers and for tier 1 suppliers. We believe that this German automotive supply chain trend is the biggest driver in the PPAs and in the renewables sector at the moment. This will come flooding the Romanian and Bulgarian market, and the automotive sector in Romania and Bulgaria will support building new renewables. For us, that's the only way how both countries can build these 20 gigawatts of new renewables.
Thank you very much all for making this an interactive session. We are here to provide more insights on who we are, what we offer. We're grateful for your presence today. Matei, Mariana, the final words, please.
Thank you very much, Valentina, for moderating questions. Thank you, Mariana, for having us. And really, it was a pleasure. We really hope to talk to you either in Sofia offline via email. Mariana, the floor is yours, please. Thank you.
Thank you too. I think that this webinar was very informative and very detailed. I have rarely seen someone going into so much detail on the PPA topic. Usually the volume and price risk are discussed between the two negotiating parties, but that's why we do have the event in Sofia next week, and we invite everyone interested in negotiating such a PPA or getting aware of the different trading strategies, different hedging strategies for the risks that are involved in such a bilateral contract. Do not forget that besides the risk, there are also a lot of upsides to signing a corporate PPA combined for our climate awareness, carbon targets, but also purely on hedging price volatility on electricity markets. So I am very happy to close this webinar today. Thank you to the presenters, and also the participants, and looking forward to see you next week at the resource event. Goodbye and have a nice day all.
Bye.